Hello, it's Sarah, and I am going to attempt a fairly short video on brushes. I just wanted to go over some things about paint brushes. My dog is driving me a little crazy, but we'll try to get through this. So I am officially part of Lifebook 2016. I'm going to be taking that year-long virtual retreat, so online classes, and I'm pretty excited. Hoping to come out of my box and try some new things, because the type of painting that I did for years, decorative painting I guess you would call it, or toll painting, I feel very comfortable doing that. I'm not really learning anything. That's why I stopped and started doing other things, because I wasn't really learning anything. I've been there, done that, you know? And now with mixed media, like, anything goes, and there's so much cool stuff going on. So yeah, I am definitely excited. So that being said, my dog is here. Kirby, oh my God. I love her. All right, I'm just going to go over brushes. Now, for decorative painting, you really wanted to keep your brushes pretty nice. I did anyway. I mean, for the most part, you do, because you need a tool that's going to do the job. And if you beat up your brushes and, you know, you don't have a nice chiseled edge on them anymore, you're not going to get the same result. And I was a pretty smooth, even painter, and it had a lot to do with the tools you use, okay? And I mean, I don't use anything fancy or expensive, but I try to keep them decent. And if they're not, you go out and you get yourself a decent tool, right? So I bought these today. These were from AC Moore. And I'm really disappointed in the brush selection that's out there at the hobby, at AC Moore anyway. I should check Hobby Lobby and see what they have. I haven't been there. Michaels, they change their brushes all around too, so they discontinued my go-to. Now I choose, I'm not a name brand girl, never have been, even for clothes. I need comfort and fit, you know? So that's the same thing with brushes here. I like a mid-grade quality brush that does a good job, you know? Now I've tried these already, and they're decent. But for the price, I got 4 brushes, and these were buy one, get one 50% off. So all of the brushes are $4. They're $4 a piece, but they were 2 for 2 for. So $12 for 4 brushes. That's not bad. Now this one was $10. $9.99 for a 1/2-inch angle brush. And I'm not thrilled with it. I've used it, and it's not all that. I prefer an angle brush that has a little longer hairs. So like, I like a longer, because it holds more water. I don't like them stubby. So like this is the American Painters. This is my 1/2-inch American Painter, and this is the 1/2-inch. It's got a much higher angle. Like, this angle is higher, which I don't mind it. Anyway, and they're both the same size. All the brands are, you can have 5, 6s, and they're all going to look different. It's so weird the way they do brushes. But I just want to recommend you guys your go-to brushes that you can't, you know, go wrong if you get these brushes, okay? So let's start with the liners. The liner brushes, there's a lot of different types and shapes and sizes, and, you know, but basically it's the tool that you want to use when you need a thin line. And I just got this one today because mine are looking pretty beat up. But look at this. So I think like the number 4 is the thickest. It has the most hairs. The small, like this is a 10/0, and the one I bought today is a 10, like 10/0. And then like this one's a number 00. So the smaller number, the thinner hairs. And I like a thin liner brush, because although these are good to have too, because the longer the hairs, the more paint and water it can hold, and you can go further with it. Okay, so that's the idea. The longer the bristles are, it'll hold more. So that makes sense. But this is the one I got today. This, let me put out a little bit of paint. What color paint? I want to use like a little bit of a dark paint. And this is palette paper. And I always use palette paper. Here it is. I bought a new one today. This is the Strathmore palette paper. I'm sure there are other brands, but I used a coupon on this. And it's basically a smooth poly-coated surface. So it's like a waxy surface. And I mean, you can float on this type of surface too. I use my craft mat sometimes. But let me put some of this out. I'm just going to show you what the brush does. So that's just I shook it and I put it out. I always add water to my paint. Acrylic paint is a water-based paint, so I always have water on my brush, and then I pull a little puddle out and make a slicker, wetter puddle. Because you don't want to just go right into the paint and then go to your piece. It's too much. So you want to have more control. And then this guy, he can make a nice thin line. Or if you push down, you can get it a little wider. Let me go in a little bit. I don't want to go in too far because I'll forget. But yeah, so this one looked nice. And you just, like, I can write my name. When you use a liner brush, you want your paint really thin so it kind of flows like ink. But for the price, $2, that's not a bad brush. Now, when you finish with it, you want to make sure it's clean. And I wanted to talk about that too. I'm going to get my soap. Pink soap is I don't know, I guess it's like a, what's her name? Mona Lisa. But pink soap, I've had this forever and it's almost gone, but I need to get more because this, you can dress your brush in, you can clean your brush. Let's see, it says preserver, cleaner, conditioner. So I would just, especially like a convention or something when you're painting all day and then you need to pack up, you can dress your brush in this. If there's been gunked in paint, just put it on there and put your brushes away, and then you can clean them when you get home, but it keeps them from getting all stuck together and stuff. So you need to keep your brushes clean. And then I'm just going to rinse that off, and that's clean. So you really need to keep your brush. It was funny because I watched Willowing I watched her do, the word is totally, but it was a face. I can't think of, a portrait. Her brushes were a mess, and I just was like, wow. But mixed media is different. Now look at this brush. I want to show you. See how splayed it is? Do you see what my dog is driving me nuts? Oh my God, Kirby, it's 11 o'clock at night. But this is all splayed. Can you see that? When you put it in water, it'll come back together though. So it's not totally done, but it's starting to, like, now this is a number 00. It's got a longer bristle, but it still gives you that nice thin line, and when you push down you can get a wide line again. But see, it splits apart. Once it starts to dry out, it starts to splay. So I'm starting to lose that one. But you probably want to get, I'd say at least a number 1 liner. Like this is a number 4. This has really got a lot of bristles. I've probably had one of every number at some point, but your go-to would be a nice little detail liner. So the 10/0, that's what I like to do, little details. So you're going to do, I'm going to outline the windows of my house. I'm going to write love. You know, so you can do that type of stuff with a brush and then clean it off, all right? I bought this one too, and this is, I would consider this a spotter. It's a 0 round brush, but it's got a much shorter, stubbier point, and this is just for like painting like little spots, like just filling in little areas and having control over the brush so you can get in tight little, like if I want to fill in this windowsill, I can do that. So I just needed a better one that wasn't a mess. So I ended up getting that and that. So that's your liner brush. You definitely need a liner brush that's going to work for making small lines. Then there's the round brush, and that is more, I like to base coat with a round, like a number 3 round. Or number 3 is your, I would say a go-to. I'll bet you this is a number 4. And like I said, all the brands are different. Like these are both number 3s by different brands. And look, like one's much longer and it's fatter. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, okay, here's a blue one. This is a number 3. No, this is a 5. And it looks, I mean, it's definitely fatter. You can tell it's definitely going up. So basically, like this is your number 3 round. And I like to base coat, but again, I'm loading the brush. I don't just go into the puddle. I load the brush. But like, you can definitely make circles with a round brush. You're just gonna use the brush. You know, you can do strokes, like they're for comma strokes and stuff like that. Like if you wanted to do a, like say, a crescent moon or something, like you could stroke it out. You don't have to work as hard. You know, you're not using some big brush for a small area. But it will widen out if you want to paint something. So you can use the brush, you know, so if I go up on the tip, I can make a small line, but then I can also make a wider line. So a number 3 round or 4 round, I would say, would be a great option to have in your toolbox. All right, so we got the liner and the round. My favorite has to be the flat, and I would say I have definitely, this is a 1/2 inch, and what is this? My number came off because I leave my brushes in the water, and the water will soak up into the brush, and it makes the paint fall off your brush. Like, it's not good to do. Every painter does it. We all are like guilty of it. I mean, I won't say every painter. There's probably good painters out there that don't. But I bought myself a 1/2 inch. So these are both 1/2 inch. Oh, that's an angle. Hold on here. So this is a 14 and this is a 1/2 inch. So I don't know what the difference is, but look how long. I like this because see how long the bristles are? So that's going to hold a lot of paint and a lot of water, so it's going to go a longer way. So let me demo this one. And when I use I'm going to go into my water, and this is one of the cheap ones I bought today, but I want to make sure that all the bristles come together. So I get a knife's edge, a chisel they call it, the chisel edge. I don't want the bristles flayed apart like that. Like that's not good. Well, in my old world, it wasn't. In mixed media, it's going to happen, I think. That's why I designate certain brushes for other mediums. So I have a gesso brush, I have a matte medium brush, I have a gel, this brush or that brush. You don't use your detail quality brushes for those things because you're just going to muck them up, and then you won't have a decent brush when you go to find one. So definitely designate different brushes. Like I have these. These are what I designated for. I think this had like 7 brushes in it. I don't know if I have any more. I think there were 7. And this is the Craft Smart. There's 5. Maybe there were just 5. This one's getting totally beat up. Like you can see the bristles are broken on the sides. And that's because I use this for gesso and everything. And then when I'm cleaning it, and I'm so rough, I really rub it on the bottom of my, I have like a grid on the bottom of my water bucket to clean the brushes, but this one's holding up pretty good. And the little ones are holding up pretty good. And I probably got this whole set, like maybe this set was $10, like one brush I got today. And I use a coupon, and I got these, I don't care if I'm using them on gesso, and gesso, it says right on here, it says, a thick white primer that seals, stiffens, and provides surface tooth, right? So if that stays in your brush, it's going to gunk your brush up. You're going to get stiff bristles and stuck together bristles, and, you know, so you don't want to use this on your good brushes, you know? So I always just would suggest that you designate certain brushes to certain stuff, like Mod Podge. I have a brush or a couple brushes that are really just for Mod Podge, like this one. This hideous looking thing. It's a mess, but I use it for glue. So that's what I use for glue. So yeah, let's see what this little guy does. But I load it up, And flat brushes are just awesome. I love flats. I might need more paint. Let me turn this so I can just let the brush do the work. Like you can make checks. I ran out of paint. But I mean, it's okay. This one, I think I'm losing my chisel already. Like when I look at that, I can see, like, let's see what it looks like. It's pretty good. It's holding together. See, there's no gaps between the bristles and they're all snuggled. So, like, but I can just paint in a square and you can go up against it like this. Like you can get in the nooks and crannies. I love flats. I don't know why, but and look, I'm done painting that. Like it takes you 2 seconds. And there are strokes you can do. Like you can do like, I don't know why I'm writing cheese, but I just thought of cheese for some reason. Isn't that weird? But like, you can play with strokes with these too. If you go down and up on the chisel, see, you can get a lot out of them. But for me, I use these for base coating. And what I mean by that is like filling in things, you know? So, all right, so that's your flat. And I have like every size. I have like a lot of different sizes. Small ones for getting into small things. Like this is actually called a chisel, just a chisel. And it's got really short, stubby bristles. But that's like for, I don't know. Let's try it. I haven't used it in a while. But look at that. That makes like perfect bricks. Can you see? Am I in the shot? Yeah. Like, I mean, it's just, you don't even need a stencil. You just paint checks. All right, so that's your flat. So we did a liner, a round, oops, and a flat. And then I'm going to show you one other, it's a random one that I have, but I don't use it a lot, and it's called a filbert. I can't even find it. Here it is. It's called a cat's tongue too. It's basically a flat brush, but it has the corners are cut off. It's like rounded at the top. So it kind of makes like a, when I pull it, it has that rounded top to it. I'm not even in the shot. But see how it has that rounded top? So these are good for making leaves. Like if you just, well, that wasn't a good leaf. You have to just pivot and you pick it up and you can kind of make a cute leaf like that. They're called one-stroke leaves. And so when I'm making a lot of leaves, I like to have a good filbert. So I kind of keep these for that. I don't use them to base coat or do anything else with. I use them for making leaves. That's pretty much really what I use filberts for. Okay. And then the only other brush I really want to talk about is the angle brush. And flats are called wash brushes too. Oh, there's 2 more brushes I want to talk about. So just read what it says on there. Like this says angular. Let me see what this one says. Angular shader. Angular. So anyway, what they mean is, here's one, here's another one. Can't read it because it's all worn off. But this was my go-to angle brush, and it's starting to get really flayed out. It still holds a chisel. Like, you know what I mean? It still can make a nice float, but it's just looking rough. Like the hairs, there's hairs that are sticking out on the sides. But I can still do the job with it, but I have to replace it. I had to replace it. So I corner load, and this is the technique I use to float, right? I'm basically pushing the paint, am I in the shot? Pushing the paint into the bristles so that it gradually fades from darkest to middle to light to water. And that's how I get, like, if I'm shading my house, you know, I want it to look like, you know, it's shaded there. So, and then the other brush I was going to talk about was the mop brush, and I use those. Where is my mop? Here. And they had mops at AC Moore, but these are just Maxine mops. These are designed by Maxine Thomas, and she's like the queen of floating, if you ask me. I really feel like she is. And so she had these designed for her, to work for her, because this is, and you don't mop the you don't put them in water. You just mop the water's edge. So I'm just gently, softly touching the water's edge, and it helps you to soften out your float if you need to. So that's what a mop is. I'm not putting this in water. It stays dry. And I think they use these in watercolor though. I'm not sure, but you do use them with water. So, but these are not intended to be used with water. They're intended to soften the water's edge. So that was just a quick, but yeah, I have a lot of different sizes of angle brushes too. And this one is my go-to American Painter 5/8 inch. Don't get a small one. Like this is a 1/2 inch, and it's not. I'm not going to recommend this. I was painting with it earlier. It's not. I don't like it. It's got too much of an arch. I mean, it'll do the job, but look what happens. See the bristles, how they're splitting? It doesn't hold enough water to me. So I mean, it's still able to float. I can still get the graduation of color. Actually, you know, I mean, it doesn't look bad, but I just, look at that. Like, it's just all splayed apart. I don't know why that bothers me, but there's other brushes that don't do that. So that's why, I don't know. I don't know if it's bad, because really all that should matter is if you get a good result. You know, if you like what, and whatever's happening here is what's going to happen on your piece. So make sure you like it. See, like this feels stiff. This is a new one. I found a bunch of these. I must have bought them when they were going out of stock. But this feels stiff. So maybe you just need to work them in too and get them flexible. But this is good. And see, it's not flaying. It's not opening up. I think these are just have longer bristles and they hold more water. So it keeps the bristles together. But yeah, this is stiff compared to like my broken in ones. Oop, it's opening. See, it's flying, so that's not my favorite. So yeah, so just keep playing with them, and practice makes perfect. So in the description box, I'll just put your go-to brushes, the sizes that you want. And like I said, all the brands are different. They're going to look different. So look at the brush and touch it. Like, here's another one. Oh, this is Princeton Select. Look, I have another one of them. This is a round brush. Oh, this is a cheapy brush, Princeton. So like, see, look, but it's already, and when you stick them in water, they come together, but like, I hate when the bristles are going every which way. If you're going to use it for, see, this might be new. I don't remember using this before. I must have had this in my stash and forgot. Alright, so, and then, yes, clean your brushes. Clean them. Don't just leave them, because whatever's on there, just seeing if it'll come together, because it's looking rough. It's looking like, but yeah, these are good for circles. They're great for basing in circles. Like, you could just make circles all day. Clean them. Get some type of a soap. You don't have to get pink soap. You can even probably use like a skin soap, I'm trying to say. I don't know, like a regular, at the dollar store they might sell some type of soap, because you can just rub it across the bar, but I don't know. I don't know if there's like certain conditioners that would mess it up. Anyway, but you need to clean your brushes. You can't let the paint like get all down in this is called the ferrule. And then that's where the water, like when you leave it in the water, like I'm going to clean these before I just leave them. And I don't always. Sometimes I go to bed and I leave them in my bucket like that, in my dirty water. So, but I'm going to clean these because they're new, and clean my water and take care of them so that you have them when you want them. And like I said, designate the junky ones. You know, you have these junksters. You don't have to really care about these as much. I mean, if you're keeping them for gesso and glue and Mod Podge, you're fine, you know. All right, you guys, hope that was helpful. And thanks for watching.